Years ago, Bukola sat on a wooden stool in front of her mother's house, staring blankly at her phone. The Christmas celebration was in full swing in the village. Children ran around in new clothes, firecrackers popped in the air, women chatted while roasting goat meat, and loud Afrobeat music blared from every compound. But none of this caught her attention. Her husband, Mr. C.A., had suddenly stopped answering her calls ever since she traveled to the village for the holidays. At first, she thought it was just a coincidence. Maybe he was busy with work or hanging out with friends. But as the days passed, he continued to ignore her messages and calls. Maybe his phone was broken, she told herself. But that excuse fell apart when she saw his WhatsApp status updates. Every day, he posted videos of himself in different places, restaurants, bars, and even a short clip of him driving around Lagos with loud music playing in the background. He was clearly enjoying himself, yet he refused to talk to her. Bukola's hands trembled as she scrolled through their chats, where she had sent so many messages. "Baby, how are you? Are you okay? Why are you ignoring me? Did I do something wrong? Please just say something." But all of them were left unread, no response. Her mother, Mama Fun, noticed the distress on her face and asked, "What is it now? This is Christmas, your siblings are here, everyone is happy, and yet you've been acting like a widow since you arrived. Aren't you happy to be home?" Bukola shook her head. "Mama, I don't know what's going on. Since I came here, Kola hasn't answered any of my calls or replied to my messages." Mama Fun frowned. "That's strange. Have you tried calling someone else to check on him?" Bukola nodded. "Yes, I called Mercy, our maid. She said he's fine, but doesn't want to talk to me. Every time I ask her to give him the phone, she says he's busy." "How can your husband be too busy to talk to you?" her mother exclaimed. "I don't even know what went wrong. Before I traveled, we were fine. We didn't fight. He even gave me money for the trip and told me to enjoy myself. So what changed?" Mama Fun sighed. "Maybe you should just calm down. There's probably nothing to worry about." But Bukola couldn't calm down. Something inside her didn't feel right. "Mama, I can't. I have this strange feeling that something is wrong. I need to go back to Lagos." Mama Fun's eyes widened. "What? Christmas hasn't even finished. What will people think? You want them to start asking why you ran off during the holiday." But Bukola couldn't shake the feeling. The worst part was, she had no idea what was happening. If Bukola had just picked up the phone and told her that everything was fine, she wouldn't be so worried. But ignoring her completely? That was unlike him. The next day, as she scrolled through Kola's WhatsApp status again, a fresh video caught her eye. He was laughing with friends at an outdoor lounge, with the bright lights of Lagos in the background. He looked so happy. Her chest tightened. It had been over a week, and Kola had completely ignored her. At first she had called and left messages, but after Christmas Eve she gave up. Yet, she couldn't stop thinking about him. As Christmas morning arrived, Bukola decided she was going back to Lagos. The next day she and her 3-year-old son Timmy were on their way back. Her mother had protested, trying to convince her to stay until after the new year, but Bukola couldn't wait any longer. The journey felt longer than usual, every sound outside the window making her restless. When they finally reached their estate, her heart pounded in her chest, but when they arrived home, it was empty. Completely empty. No furniture, no TV, no dining table. Nothing. Just an empty space where their living room used to be. She rushed to the bedroom hoping to find some explanation, but the bed was gone, the wardrobe open and bare. The house had been emptied. Bukola dropped to the floor, clutching her chest as she realized what had happened. Kola had packed everything and left. She was alone, and the world around her felt like it was collapsing. She ran outside, nearly tripping over herself, and demanded to know where Kola was. The gatekeeper, Baba J, handed her a folded letter. Trembling, she opened it and read the hastily scribbled words. "B, I'm sorry, please don't look for me, it's over. Mercy is gone too." Bukola's world came crashing down. Kola had left her. No explanation, no goodbye, just 3 cold words. "It's over." Her knees buckled, and she collapsed to the ground, unable to breathe. The pain was unbearable. Her mother kept calling, urging her to return to the village, but Bukola refused. She couldn't. Life in Lagos was tough, but she couldn't go back to the village. She needed to make it on her own. With the little money she had left, Bukola bought a mattress, a small gas stove, and a few food items. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Every night as she lay beside Timmy, she whispered to herself, I will survive. I will rise again. Kola has nothing on me. A few days later, Mr. Tom, Kola's close friend, came to visit her. He looked around at the empty house, surprised by the state of things. What happened here? He asked. Kola swallowed hard. Kola left, she whispered. Mr. Tom sighed deeply. I'm sorry, Bukola. After a pause, he added, do you have any plans? How will you survive here with Timmy? I don't know, Bukola admitted, but I'm thinking of starting a business. I have to start something. Mr. Tom nodded thoughtfully. What kind of business? Bukola smiled weakly. I want to sell jewelry. I've always loved beautiful earrings, necklaces, and bracelets. That's a good idea, Mr. Tom agreed. If you find the right customers, you'll make money. But then Mr. Tom dropped a bombshell. Kola sold the house, he said quietly. Bukola's eyes widened. What? He sold the house? Mr. Tom nodded. He sold it to someone else. The new owner is coming any moment. Bukola's world collapsed again. Kola had not only abandoned her, but had taken everything, including their home. Tears welled in her eyes as she tried to process the weight of what had happened. Mr. Tom reached into his pocket and handed her a brown envelope. Take this, he said softly. Inside the envelope was a check for 5 million naira. Use it to start over, rent a new place for yourself and Timmy, start your business. You deserve better than this. Bukola collapsed to her knees in gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Tom. I don't know what to say. Within a few days, Bukola found a small but decent apartment. It wasn't much, but it was a start. She used the remaining money to buy beautiful jewelry and start her business. To her surprise, the business boomed. Within weeks, she had returning customers and was making good money. Her confidence returned, and for the first time in months, she smiled. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. And though the pain of Kola's betrayal still lingered, she had built a new life for herself and Timmy. Months later, she received a call from Mr. Tom. He asked her to meet him at a hospital on the outskirts of the city. Bukola, uneasy, agreed. When she arrived, Mr. Tom led her to a room. There, sitting in a wheelchair, was Kola, pale, frail, and broken. His face was full of regret. Bukola was stunned. I'm so sorry, Kola whispered. I never wanted to hurt you. I was tired of everything and I ran away with Mercy, but she took everything from me and left. Then I had a stroke. Now I can't work. I can't speak. Bukola's heart sank as Kola told his tragic story. But hearing his words didn't make her feel sorry for him. He had abandoned her, left her and Timmy with nothing, and now he expected forgiveness. You left me, Bukola said, her voice steady but full of sorrow. You abandoned me and our son. You sold everything we had, and now you want me to forgive you? She shook her head. I've moved on, Kola. I can't forgive you. I have a future now. I'm not looking back. Without another word, Bukola turned and walked away from him. She didn't need to hear anything else. She had made the hardest decision of her life, but it was the right one. She was done looking back. It was time to look forward. And with that, Bukola stepped into a new chapter of her life. She remained unmarried, her jewelry business flourished, and she made sure Timmy never lacked anything again. She had risen from the ashes.